This episode of Test Drive is made possible by RateMyEV.com.
Welcome, my friends. I hope that you have enjoyed the video that we did, the full spotlight review on this Charger Daytona Scat Pack, because now it's time to dissect why this exists and if it should in the first place. Because there's a lot of opinions when it comes to this vehicle. Not everybody is in love with it. And I hope after watching my video, you can come to appreciate this vehicle kind of as its own thing. Think of it as a different vehicle than what came before. But now we're going to talk about should that even exist? Because obviously, over the last, say, 20 years, the Dodge brand has really made a name for itself when it comes to these performance-oriented muscle cars. Now, performance comes in all sorts of formats. You can buy something like a BMW M3 and you can take it to the track and have a good time. Not only is it fast, but it handles extremely well. It's well built, the interior is beautiful, and you're going to be paying a pretty penny for it. When it comes to a muscle car, usually you're not getting a very pretty interior and it doesn't really handle that well, but it will go very fast in a straight line. And that's really what the previous generation SRT, Hellcats, Demons, Red Eyes, Jailbreaks, all of those were all really good at, going very, very fast in a straight line. And that's effectively what Dodge wanted to do here. Now, we've talked a lot about electric cars over the years on Test Drive. One of the first things that usually comes to my mouth is compliance car. Now, if you don't know what a compliance car is, that is when a manufacturer has to make a vehicle in order to comply with certain regulations. My Ford Focus Electric, for example, was a compliance car. Ford needed to sell a portion of their vehicles that were fully electric, so they slapped an electric motor in a Focus and called it a day. That's not something that you can talk about when it comes to this vehicle, because the engineers and designers at Dodge didn't just put electric motors in a Charger and call it a day. I really do feel that they set out to make something that was different, that was unique, especially from their own portfolio, and try to bring the muscle car into the future. Because let's face it, folks, regardless of what you think or feel about big displacement engines, they are going away. We are all moving towards more fuel-efficient vehicles, whether it's hybrids, plug-in hybrids, electric, hydrogen, whatever it may be. The future isn't set yet in stone, but the future of change is. We are going to be losing a lot of these engines. Now, it's interesting, in the last couple of years, some other big brands like Mercedes-AMG tried to go away with the V8, going with a smaller displacement 2-liter 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid system. Victor actually just featured the Mercedes-AMG GLC 63 SE Performance. It's a good example of how you can still get massive amounts of power from small engines. This is kind of the opposite of that, because it's not an engine. These are electric motors. So it's forgetting about the past when it comes to Dodge and putting something completely different under the framework, right? Can't say under the hood anymore because there's only one motor there. The other one's in the back. The problem with this vehicle, though, is the core buyer of Dodge vehicles don't want this. Right? It's much like the Volkswagen ID Buzz that I drove last week. It was a big risk for Volkswagen, at least in this market, to come out with a vehicle that had kind of lousy range, a very high price point, and didn't really do anything unique other than the fact that it was very cute and very high turning. This, at least, you could argue, is very quick in a straight line. It's got excellent design to it. The interior is steps above what the previous generation Dodge and Chrysler vehicles had to offer, but it's not necessarily what the core Mopar buyers wanted, because they still want a V8, still want a Hellcat. I mean, they don't want fake sounds coming out of the back, which, yeah, you can turn it off, but then it kind of takes away from the fun of it. I really do think back to the Hyundai IONIQ 5N that I drove. It's been a while now since I drove that, but that really reinvented the concept of what an electric car can do, because they took kind of like a family electric vehicle, put more performance motors out of it, gave it some track modes, gave it a fake exhaust, gave it fake gear shifting, and I had more fun in that car than I've had in most other vehicles. This almost does that. It's got the fake exhaust, but it doesn't have the gear shifting. I think that could have been something that Dodge could have looked at doing. That would have been kind of fun. The paddle shifters on here are for your regen braking. But what I want to do is take this on the road. We'll drive around a little bit. We'll do some performance stuff, but I really just want to talk about if this makes sense, if people are going to buy it, and if you should too. All right, we're on the road in the Charger Daytona. You wouldn't know that because it's making no sound. And that's kind of like, we're in this weird like middle ground because the people that I've talked to, they're like, well, I hate the fake sound. Okay, so if you hate the fake sound, that's fine. You can turn it off, which I've done now. But then when I go like this, oh my God, it's so fast. There's no drama, right? There's nothing. You wouldn't even know what's coming by. But I turn it on. Yes, you do know I'm coming by now. It's making a weird sound, but I don't hate it. So I'm going to turn it off. If you want to have the sound on for the, driving portion here, we do that. I do that in the video on this, full spotlight on it. But just so that you can hear me a little bit better, I'm going to keep the sound off. Capiche? Good. So yes, Dodge and muscle car owners, they're not going to be interested in this. But let's think about sort of the market, okay? Ford came out with the Mustang Mach-E. Everybody hated the fact that they called it the Mustang Mach-E. The Mach-E would have been fine, but you put the name Mustang on it, but it's an electric, everybody gets upset, they lose their mind. However, from my understanding, is the Mach-E has been outselling the traditional gas version of the Mustang quite a bit over the last couple quarters, if not full year now of sales, because people realize that the Mach-E is a pretty decent little electric vehicle. It's kind of styled like a Mustang, so you're getting that. It doesn't look like one, right? It's not a two-door car. So I almost feel like when the Mustang Mach-E came out, the folks over in Auburn Hills, they thought, hey, Ford has made a crossover version of their pony car. It's fully electric, looks kind of like it, people are buying it, but what if we were to do the opposite? What if we were to take our muscle car and make it electric? It's still a two-door car. It's still, got a lot of power. You can get up to speed quickly. It's got the same kind of shape and everything to the previous Challenger. But instead of turning it into a crossover and making it into a family vehicle, let's continue with what makes us different, the DNA that sets Dodge apart, which is to make performance muscle cars that go very fast in a straight line. And that's what they've done. So it's kind of strange that there's so much hate, because if you really don't like it, just don't buy it, right? That's it. Just don't buy it. Go buy an old Hellcat, whatever. You're going to be happy. But I think that the execution of it has been well done. We talked about that in the spotlight on this video, that they really did an excellent job putting this together, in the sense that it is quick, it is comfortable, it rides well enough, handling is kind of typical, but you're getting the performance, and I think that's what most people really care about. You're just getting it in a different way. Now, from the beginning of when this car was announced, there was always plans to have the gas version. Now they're calling it the 6-pack. It's got either the regular output or high output inline 6 engines that they're using on some of the bigger Wagoneers and stuff. It's a very good engine, very powerful engine. They're using it on the Ram now, but the people who buy these cars, they don't care about that. They want a V8. And I guess you could have a slow V8 and they'd still want it over something like that. But in every metric that you can measure the inline 6, it's better than the Hemi V8. But people who buy those cars want that. So that's why, again, when I'm thinking about this vehicle and why it exists, yes, it's going to cater maybe to a different market. It's going to cater to people who, don't care anymore about really what's under the hood, because that's what made a muscle car, right? I've got a 7-liter V8 under the hood. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to put all sorts of aftermarket parts on it, supercharger, whatever you want. You can modify it and make your muscle car your own. You can't do that with this, right? Because it's like an Xbox. You can't really go and hack it to get more power. And why would you anyway? I think this is already plenty of power to get you into a lot of trouble anyway. So, that sort of scene isn't there. But maybe there's a market for people that they don't care about that. Maybe they bought older, previous gen Challenger, Charger. They bought the V8. They liked the performance. They liked the sound of it. But for them, they never modified it. They just took it to the shop to get maintenance and whatever, and they were happy just to drive it. And now they see something like this, and they go, hey, great. I don't have to go to the gas station every 45 minutes. I can just plug it in at home. And when I'm driving around town, I can keep it in silent mode and kind of use it as a daily cruiser. But if I want to take it to the drag strip, this will annihilate most of the vehicles that are there. So, you know, that's why I say, like, for me, it's hard to understand the hate behind it, because just like with any electric vehicle, there's like a market for it. It's a tool in your shed. Now, again, the hate comes because the tool has replaced what people wanted, right? It's not like they're offering the electric and a V8. They've gotten rid of the V8, and people see that this is the enemy to that, because, oh, I don't have my V8 anymore, so I'm going to get really upset. Now I'm going to hate this electric. But I've liked it, and maybe it's because I'm not a muscle car guy, but I've enjoyed my time with it. Would I buy this over a IONIQ 5N? I don't think I would. Would I buy this over like a BMW electric? Absolutely not. But I can see the reason why some people might want to have this, because it is kind of fun. It is a handsome, good-looking car. The tech on here is nice, right? For once, we're getting some good stuff. Interior is pretty decent as well. But yeah, it's just the people who, you know, the core demographic of what's kept Chrysler afloat over the last 20 years, they're not that interested in this. And there's no amount of convincing I can do. If you're one of those people, I can show you all the performance out of this thing and take it to town and whatnot. You don't care. You're not going to care. You're never going to care, right? Because you still want that experience. You want that V8, regardless of how quick the vehicle is or whatever. You know, you want that. Once it's taken away, it's hard. Even if we put the vehicle into drag mode, into launch, and we go, laying down some rubber there, people. I mean, look at that. It's insanely fast. And it's quiet because I've turned off the exhaust. And like, listen, I've been filming the Spotlight and this back to back. I don't know how I feel about that Fratzonic Chambered Exhaust anymore. Like, I kind of like it silent, but I don't know. I mean, I think if there was a little bit more customization, because really, at least from what I can tell, I've played around with the system. It's tied to like the performance mode of the vehicle, right? So, you know, if I go back into complicated to go back into it, turn it back on because it's right there. Like, we're in drag mode, so custom mode's the same. It's the higher performance. But if I go into wet snow mode, it's gone, right? If I go into auto, it's gone. Go into sport, it's like it's there a little bit, right? There's like a little bit of it. So I wish that there was more. A little bit more customization. I'm not saying that you have to be in like eco mode and have Hellcat exhaust coming out of the back, but I think it would have been cool to at least have a couple options to be able to say, hey, I don't mind the futuristic Starship Enterprise mixed in with the, you know, raw performance sounds. I'll take it, but I want to maybe be able to customize, maybe be able to say, listen, give me a pure V8 Hellcat sound or a pure Hemi V8 without supercharger or anything like that. Like, bring a couple more options into it and make it a little bit easier. Make a much easier way to go into quiet mode, because that's the other thing too, is like when this thing starts up and the EV sound is on, it makes a bit of a racket. And I mean, it's almost embarrassing. Like, I feel like I'm obnoxious because this vehicle should make no noise, and it makes a lot of noise when it needs to. So I don't know. I mean, like, for me, as I said, I would not necessarily buy this vehicle in my life. I've got an 11-year-old daughter who's as tall as I am. She doesn't fit in the back as comfortably. My wife sits up front. She's not super comfortable. She doesn't like it either. But there is a market for it. So if you think about it, like I said, Mustang Mach-E, that's a crossover, right? Even the Blazer. Chevrolet Blazer is meant to be like the Camaro of SUVs. And now they're coming out finally on the market with the SS version, the high-performance one. It's still a crossover. So you can hate this vehicle all you want. If you're a diehard Mopar Hemi enthusiast, you love it. I think you've got the best package here when all the other brands are going with crossovers. Nobody's made a car. Nobody's made a two-door. Nobody's made a coupe. So as far as I'm concerned, excellent job to Chrysler. I like it. I'm glad it exists. I know I'm not going to see too many of them on the road, and definitely not the Scat Packs, but I'm glad they made it because it is different. It might not be the right answer, but it is a different answer than what the other three are doing. But as always, if you have any questions about what we do here on Test Drive, I do try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can. So make sure that you get into the comments, make sure you like, subscribe, and become a member here on Test Drive to see the latest of what we're doing here on the channel, because there's a lot going on. We've got a lot of hosts. We've got a lot of stuff that we're doing. It's not just EVs. I like my EVs, but we're doing a lot of stuff too. So don't miss out. You want to make sure you're getting the latest and greatest. And I will leave you with one last big fat rip. Oh, it just loses traction. It's so good. And these are big beefy tires. I think they're like 305s or something. They're huge. Okay, I'll give you one launch too. Come on. Punch the throttle. Absolutely. Oh, I love it. Launch complete, folks. And so is our video. Let me know what you think. Did they get it right? Did I get it right? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, take care.